Rain had just begun to fall when Sarah Whitman pulled her old sedan into the gas station, her hands trembling on the steering wheel. The yellow light above the pumps flickered like it might give up at any second, and the night felt heavier than usual. In the back seat, her 8-year-old son Noah slept with his head against the window, unaware of how close his mother was to breaking down. Sarah whispered a quiet prayer as she stepped out of the car, hoping she could fill the tank and leave without anyone noticing her fear. Life had not been kind to Sarah since her husband, Daniel, passed away 2 years earlier. Cancer had taken him quickly, leaving her with medical bills, a child to raise, and a heart that still ached every night. She worked 2 jobs, smiled when she could, and cried when no one was watching. That evening, her paycheck had barely covered groceries, and the coins in her purse were counted twice before she decided she had just enough for gas. She never imagined that this ordinary stop would turn into the most frightening moment of her life. As Sarah stood by the pump fumbling with her card, a loud laugh echoed across the lot. 3 men leaned against a beat-up truck near the convenience store, their voices sharp and mocking. One of them, a tall man with a shaved head named Rick, noticed her nervous glances. He nudged his friend Mark and smirked. Slowly, they walked closer, their boots splashing through shallow puddles. "Well, look what we've got here," Rick said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "All alone this late at night." Sarah felt her chest tighten. She tried to ignore them, focusing on the numbers ticking up on the pump. "Please," she said quietly, "I'm just getting gas." Mark laughed, stepping too close for comfort. "Relax, sweetheart, we're just being friendly." His eyes moved to the back seat where Noah stirred in his sleep. "You got a kid back there. That's tough." Fear rushed through Sarah like ice water. She moved to shield the car door with her body, her heart pounding so loud she was sure they could hear it. She thought of Daniel, of how he used to stand tall and protect them, and she felt painfully alone. Her mind raced for an escape, but her car wasn't ready, and her son was still asleep. Rick leaned in closer, lowering his voice. "Maybe you should show a little respect when men talk to you." Before Sarah could respond, the sound of engines rolled through the night like distant thunder. At first, she thought it was just traffic on the highway, but then the noise grew louder, deeper, stronger, unmistakable. One by one, motorcycles pulled into the station, their headlights cutting through the rain. Within seconds, the gas station was filled with the presence of nearly a dozen bikers. They moved with calm confidence, parking their bikes in a loose circle around the pumps. Leather jackets bore crosses and small patches that read Faith Riders MC. The leader, a broad-shouldered man with a gray beard named Michael, removed his helmet and took in the scene with steady eyes. He had seen fear before, too many times to count. Michael walked toward Sarah, stopping just close enough to be reassuring. "Ma'am," he said gently, "are you all right?" Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes, but she nodded, unable to speak. The bikers didn't shout or threaten. They simply stood there, silent and strong, their presence alone shifting the balance of power. Rick glanced around, his confidence draining as quickly as it had appeared. Michael turned to the 3 men, his voice firm but calm. "I think it's time you boys move along." Mark scoffed, but his laugh sounded hollow. "We weren't doing anything." Another biker, a younger man named Luke, stepped forward. "Funny," he said quietly, "because it sure looks like you were." The tension hung thick in the air. For a moment, Sarah feared it would turn violent. She prayed again, clutching her car keys like a lifeline. But the bikers remained still, united, unshaken. Finally, Rick cursed under his breath and backed away. "Whatever," he muttered. The 3 men climbed into their truck and sped off, tires screeching as they disappeared into the darkness. The moment they were gone, Sarah's knees gave out and she leaned against her car, sobbing. Michael signaled to one of the bikers, an older woman named Grace, who hurried over and wrapped Sarah in a warm embrace. "You're safe now," Grace whispered. "You and your boy." Noah woke up, rubbing his eyes. "Mom?" he asked softly. Sarah brushed his hair back, forcing a smile through her tears. "It's okay, sweetheart. Everything's okay." Michael approached again, glancing at the gas pump. "Did you get what you needed?" he asked. Sarah shook her head. I don't think my card went through." Without a word, Michael pulled out his wallet and handed it to Luke. "Fill her tank," he said. Sarah tried to protest, but Grace squeezed her hand. "Let us help," she said. "That's what family does." As the tank filled, the rain eased, and the harsh night seemed to soften. Sarah learned that the bikers were on their way back from a charity ride for a children's hospital. Many of them had their own stories of loss, redemption, and faith. Michael shared that he, too, had once been lost after losing his wife, until he found purpose in protecting others. When the tank was full, Luke even handed Noah a small toy motorcycle from his saddlebag. The boy's eyes lit up with wonder. "Thank you," he said shyly. Before Sarah left, Michael looked her in the eyes. "You're stronger than you think," he said. "Don't let anyone make you forget that." As Sarah drove away, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time: hope. The fear of the night no longer clung to her chest. She realized that even in her darkest moments, she was not alone. Kindness could appear in unexpected forms, and God's protection sometimes arrived on roaring engines and leather jackets. That night became a turning point for Sarah. She still faced struggles, still worked hard, still missed Daniel every day. But she carried the memory of those bikers with her. Whenever life felt overwhelming, she remembered that courage, faith, and compassion could stand against even the ugliest cruelty. And somewhere on the open road, the Faith Riders continued their journey, watching over strangers, proving that heroes don't always wear suits. Sometimes they ride in together, surround the darkness, and remind the world that good is still stronger